Well, it's time for a weekly live, and as I'm waiting for people to join, I'm just really excited to be here. I did do a live on Instagram this morning, and we painted some peonies. This is the book we're using today. Once the replay is up, I will link this down below. The Flower Color Guide is one of my favorite reference books, and peonies, those are what I painted. That's what I painted this morning on Instagram, and also last night, I think it was yesterday morning. I don't remember what it was, but in my painting time, just for fun. So these are the peonies that I painted the other day. And then on Instagram, this is what I painted today. So, and we've got some beautiful gold paint accents as well. So you can see like a little difference. This one has a little bit of a backwash, and then this one over here, more of that splatter and a lot more vibrant color. The leaves are greener. So we're gonna paint some peonies. We're gonna flip around the camera very soon. But as always, I want to let you guys know what I'm doing. My website is linked below. My Italy trip is coming up, my art retreat there, and there's a couple spots left. So if you're interested, last minute, want to join us, linked below in the replay. If this is the replay, it's linked below. Right now, this is the live. Okay. Anyway, and then of course this book that we're painting out of today. And I just want to encourage you to be intuitive and to just kind of think of painting as a self-care. It is not something that should be stressful. Take a deep breath, remind yourself it's practice. That's what I always say. Today we're using some different brushes. We're gonna flip the camera around super awkwardly. My hand is just gonna go up here and go click, and then we're gonna do this whole awkward thing. I am totally plugged in right now, charging, because I got back from the Y and realized, oh great, my battery is almost dead. So we're gonna go a little bit closer today. And so there we go. We've got kind of what we're working with here. Let me move this for now. And I wanted to go over this book a little bit with you guys too, just so you can, kind of see what's happening in here. So this is one of my favorite reference guides. And the flowers, why do I feel like I'm out of breath? Whew, rushing around this morning. So they're separated by colors. You've got the white flowers here, some pink flowers. Ooh, those are really pretty stock. You've got some peachy flowers, you've got the purples, blue, kind of a greenish color. And what's great is, you start to go into different shades, and I've painted this one before, it's so pretty. But we are doing peonies, at least to start off, gorgeous anemone. And it gives you a great place to start to kind of figure out what you want to do with the shapes. Just look at the flower and kind of, well, let's do this today. We're going to do it a little differently than this one, because I already painted this morning, make it a little bit different for me. And I'm going to grab my paper. So I have my Winsor and Newton watercolor paper. I'm very irritated this morning because Peaches, yes, I'm always talking about Peaches, my cat, and she decided it would be a great idea to spill one of my water jars, as she normally does, and I had forgotten I left it there this morning after painting. Went to class, came back, everything is soaking. So I'm just standing up here making sure everything fits in the screen. We're gonna get started quite soon. I'm excited to be here. A little irritated about the cat, but Peaches is Peaches. She gonna do what she gonna do, and I just have to deal with her. So anyway, it is what it is. I don't have my spray bottle today. My reference right here, I'm just gonna put it above. You won't be able to see it, but I can. And we're gonna use, what are we gonna use? So we can use a filbert brush, and it's gonna give us, I'm just gonna pop this right here as people are joining us, in case you're like, what are you doing today? So filbert is gonna give you beautiful rounded petals, but I did all this with just a round brush. And I always have to mention my partnership with Winsor and Newton. I do use their products, whoops, and they have given me their lovely brushes, the paper, the paint. These are all the professional colors. So products will be linked below in the replay. So if you guys want to check it out, 15% discount code as well. Take advantage of that before August 31, which is coming up. So shall we get started? For those of you just joining, I don't know who's there. I can't see the comments because where my phone stand is, but I am so grateful that you are here. And let's get to it. We're gonna go for it. So, number 12, round brush. I don't have a spray bottle, as I said, so this is what I do. Just take some water. You can kind of, just not even touching the paint, but just you know, doing this motion to spritz some paint on. You can even go like this, I guess. No, that doesn't seem right. Don't do that. Or do what you want. But a spray bottle is going to be the best thing. So we're just getting those watercolors nice and juicy and lovely. And we're going to get started with our composition. It's pretty simple. There's not a lot of leaves, but we can add in whatever we want to. So I'm going to start with my pink. All my colors kind of meld together here. And just going to start putting on some brush strokes. Really light, watery paint. What I do like to do is kind of mix things around so that we start to get some different colors. So I'm just swooping around right there and kind of making them roundy. This is a largish side-facing floral. So I'm using my reference photo just to kind of know where to put things, but I'm also not going to be a stickler about it. You know, I like to, if you've painted with me before, we're going to emulate these tiny little fluffy petal tops, curlies. If you've painted with me before, you know, I'm always talking about, well, lots of things, but, you know, perfectionism doesn't have a place in our art, so we're just going to try to have fun and play, but also, you know, use what you have. Another petal that can come out like that. Use what you got. And what else do I say? Yeah, I don't know. I don't copy the reference photo. I just kind of use it as a guide, and then I sort of, my brain just kind of goes with whatever it wants to do. So we're going to do another kind of a, it's not a bud, but it's in between a bud and the flower because it's starting to open. Little little puddle. Oh man, you guys, it's crazy. I just did a weightlifting class and it was really intense. There's a little petal that comes right there. Really intense and really fun, but intense. So I'm really tired. Anyway, we can still paint. We can sit and paint even when we're tired. And in fact, especially when we're tired. So there's that part. I'm going to do another bud over here. Just kind of this roundy shape, little half circle curve, and then dab and another little petal right here coming around. Okay, and we're gonna get a lot of foliage in here. Now we're gonna do a big bloom over here, but I do want to put another little petal right there. And, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in this big bloom here. I do want to add that middle first. So I'm going to grab this paint here and just some little streaky marks, little lines. And all the stamen inside right there. So if you are new to my channel, welcome you guys. Please subscribe and then you won't miss out on my future videos. And what I want to do at this point is I'm actually going to, most likely, what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of paint, wanting to paint around this without really touching it too much because it's going to bleed, but if it does touch, that's okay. You know, we can work with that. And I did want to make it kind of bigger. So if you feel like your petals are not big enough, you can extend them. That's okay. Look at that. Just go back in and add in some more petal shapes. Make it larger. And you can make them different colors too. That's definitely okay. I like to subtly start to change the color by mixing some of these together. A little bit more pink. Oh. So this is a very fluffy flower, right? There's lots of petals and it can feel quite intimidating. But we're just doing that first layer of color, so I'm not too worried about exact placement on everything because we'll do a second layer and that's going to give us, you know, more that definition, just like in this guy that we painted this morning. So we've got some of those shapes down. This one is super dry. We can start adding in other things, but I'd like to do maybe a fifth bloom right here. That just seems like a good plan. So a little bit of a bud, a little ball there, a shape, and then Just kind of coming around and adding in just a few little kind of fluffy petals in that space. All right, now I'm gonna take, this is a number 8 round brush. I'm gonna take some green, so I've got a sap green here. And see, I just like to swirl. There's some water already on the palette. Swirl some extra color into that water. With watercolor, we use a lot of water. You can dab if it's gonna, feel like it's gonna create a puddle. And then we're just going to start with our stems. I often like to add stems, but you don't always have to. You could just do a bunch of, you know, front-facing florals and you'd be fine. I just, you know, this book has the stems and to me it's, you know, it's just what we're doing today. So I like to add them in. All right, all our stems are kind of to the right side there. All right, you've got the shapes in there. Now, when you're looking at your composition, you can start to see if you want to add in more blooms or if you want to have it like really full of foliage, and that's sort of, that's a judgment call on, you know, what you think you'd like to do. And that's something that I kind of start to think about in the moment. I don't plan that out, but I am going to do another bud right here. So just a smaller, really dark, really round little bud, a lot more value, darker value. And I'm going to put one over here too. So pretty circular, actually. Maybe a little bit of a petal starting to open up right there. And then I'm going to put one over here too. Yeah, let's do it. So that value change, that real dark, you know, value versus all these light ones, it's going to give a really nice contrast. And now we can add in our green for those. So just putting those in. And sometimes, you know, we can start to add in the little bit of green that's right there underneath the bud where it opened up. Put those in there. Maybe the buds, you know, connected to these stems right here, or you can add more stems too. It's really up to you. All right, guys. Well, this is the time where I have you introspect and kind of think about what's this experience like for you? Are you enjoying painting this today? Is there anything about it that feels just stressful to you? Take a deep breath. We're reminding ourselves this is just for fun. This is just practice. If you don't like it, throw it in the trash. No harm done. Really, just get another paper next time, and it's okay. If you have that mindset, all of a sudden, you know, these pieces of work don't become so important to you because you know you can always start over. And if you're worried about budget stuff, just use a cheaper paper and practice on it, and then flip it over like I did here and paint on the back side. That's literally what I did. These are paintings from a few years ago. Not a fan of them. You can start over. It's okay. You really can. So let's stop being so perfect about our art. We're already doing that in our life. You know, I know if you are feeling like you need to paint a certain way so perfectly, you are a perfectionist in your life in other ways too. Like there's a guarantee there. So just tell yourself that you're having a good time and that you're learning and that you're gonna keep practicing. It's all good. All right, I've got a nice, like well, so Payne's Gray is what I've used here with my sap green, and so that's kind of a navy is what I think. It's a bluish gray, but it looks navy to me. That's how I call it. So now I'm gonna, you know, add that in, and you can just change up, you know, the size of your leaves and how dark and how light they are, as well as, you know, the shape of them, and yeah, texture, all that stuff. We're just playing. And so I like to do these little dabbing motions and kind of draw the color down. You sort of see like how does the leaf shape take form at that point. Instead of me like trying to do these like really perfectly rounded C curve shapes, which are also a great way to do leaves, but you know, those don't always make I don't know. I feel like there's a looseness in doing it this way, you know, that I really like sometimes or wanting in my paintings. So right now we're just putting things down, and I'm gonna put, you know, another one over here, and that's kind of more that C curve shape, but a little bit messier, I guess, less perfect. So I do like to have lots of greenery surrounding my flowers, and that's the style that I prefer. And so I'm gonna add some in here. And now, you know, we're kind of figuring out the composition, and we're just filling in those white spaces with different greens. Taking a step back, looking to see how is it turning out? What are you loving? What do you need to add in? It's a constant, you know, conversation that you can have with yourself. All right, number 8 round. We're going to start with adding darker values to those flowers that we put down. So a little bit more of the darker paint. And I will refer back to this reference. So you can see like it's a layered look when you start to add the light ones, and then you add in slightly darker, and then and these are all dry first, right? Well, anyway, if you didn't know that, they're all dry first, and then you add that second layer. Then you're gonna add in a little darker layer. You can just keep going until you get the look that you're wanting. So I'm not covering up completely. I'm also not keeping, you know, just to one color. And sometimes I just do like little lines or dashes, but the whole point is to create that fluffiness of that flower, to make it start to have some shadows and texture and pop off the page. And then for this bud too, I'll go a little bit darker, just a little bit, but I'm not going super dark, not today. So let me say that, and then maybe I do later, because these are dark, and I just wanted a bit of a pop of color in that section. So this one is looking a little bit odd to me, just needs to be brightened up. There's this water. Clearly I'm not doing the cool colors and the warm colors in separate jars, but oh well. Sometimes I don't pay attention to that rule that I have. Because when you keep them separate, it just helps not to make any muddy colors. But muddy colors, you know, it's just a muted version of what you got going on. And so just adding in some there, those are a little bit darker than that. For these guys, I do want to add a bit more saturated paint just for those, just so you can, because they're looking really flat, just so that you can see a little bit of a difference in the value. And if you do want to add some of that down here, you can do that too. So a little bit of darker. I kind of just start to put the color down and spread it out. Maybe you don't want those lines to be so harsh or drastic. And if you want to use a larger brush, you can. It's really up to you. Like, you can grab a number 12 round, and you'll have, you know, probably just, whoops, we gotta clean that brush from the green. You'll have maybe, you know, less definition because you've got more liquid, a little less control. But, you know, for here, that's totally fine. Because some of these brush strokes I'm going to make, you know, really light. So very subtle difference and very big. And other ones I want more of a definition. So this just takes practice to figure out what you want for your flower. And this is sort of becoming one little blob, which sometimes happens. It's all just you trying to figure it out. And me trying to figure it out, let's be honest. All right, and then this guy here, just a little bit. Now you can definitely keep things at one layer. You don't have to do multiple layers. It's really a preference and also situational, you know, trying to figure out what do you want? What do you want for your painting? So as those flowers are starting to dry, we might do, you know, let me remove some paint actually. We might do some more, another layer if it's dry, you know, a darker one. If I did another layer, then I would certainly make it a lot smaller. So, you know, not like covering up that first and second layer, but just a little bit extra. So a little more definition. Anyway, but usually I do about 2 layers, and that seems to work for me. Alrighty, so I've got my green gold here, pretty concentrated version, and just kind of scratching along and blobbing on paint. Also, you can do some lines, you know, for some veins here if you want. And they can even extend out past, you know, the leaf, just for a little artsy look. I'm gonna do just a little bit of a stem there to connect those together. And we're going to just add in some more color in these white spaces just to fill it up. Now you want to grab some sap green, and I'm going to put in another stem. Or 2. You know, we've got a lot going on here, so we can have a lot of stems. We've got these tiny guys, whether they're connected to these stems, we're not going to overthink it. Alrighty, so look at your composition. We've got some weight here, kind of heavy over here. It almost makes sense to poof it out a little bit there, but at the same time, you know, what I want to avoid is a square look. For me, this is all personal. This is my personal preference. It doesn't mean it's a hard rule in any way. Let's put that anchoring part right there, anchor it to the stem. So it's just, what do you like? I do like this green gold, so I'm going to just put, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna just do like some brush strokes here. Just to fill that in and add a little bit of that yellowy gold color. And a little more here. Just trying to figure out, you know, that balancing act. And so now that I put that there, I'm like, well, I want something else over here. And this is where it can start to get like, you know, where you just keep adding and then you feel like it's out of control. But no, who cares? It's just a painting. And it's just play. All right, that works for me. But I do need a little bit of this green gold up here. Just a tiny bit. Just a tad. Alrighty, so how are you feeling about your painting? I'm gonna go ahead and dry this up a little, and then, actually let's add splatter first. So number 8 round. Love splatter, you guys. Well, let's actually take a pause on that. I sort of feel like I want to do something different. So you could put a wash on this. You could just take some color when this is dry and just kind of color in all the spaces, or you could take a sort of clean water, and you can take water and just sort of draw out some of the color as you're doing the scrubbing motion. And I feel like it just gives a really soft, light background. I also have color on my brush, you know, from this water, but I'm not going to paint all the spaces, just a little bit. And you might not even see it much, except in the places where I just put down some paint, like right here, that green gold. It's going to kind of diffuse the edges a little bit and make it a little bit blurry. A little bit blurry. A little bit soft. And that's sort of the background wash that I prefer to do myself. Just really subtle. And it's going to be kind of glowy because this green gold has so much yellow, so it has that glowy effect. A little bit of pink is going to come out of there too. And see how fun that is. Try it. Now, if you're prone to anxiety and perfectionism in your work, you are going to hate this. I guarantee, because it is taking away a sense of control. We don't exactly know if we're going to ruin our painting or if we're afraid we're going to ruin our painting. We're not sure where the color is going to flow out. We're not sure if we're going to like it. What if I liked it before better than now, you know? And so these are all these thoughts that come into our head that really ruin our painting experience. So tell it to shut up and just go for it. Be brave. The worst that could happen is you throw it in the trash and you start again. But when you throw it in the trash, think about what you learned from the experience. What have you learned about what you like and what you don't like? And that is the most valuable part, people. As long as we are learning from our experiences in life, when we make mistakes, what is it that we can do different? How can we improve? How can we be a better version of ourselves? And I'm just going to grab some pink to add it in to aid in this background wash that is not going to the edges. Yay! I'm having a lot of fun, you guys. Are you having a lot of fun? I hope so. Let me know in comments, like, what's your favorite part of this painting experience? We are not done by any means. Checking the time. Oh, it's been about half an hour. Not bad. I'm going to dry this up, guys, and then we'll continue. Okay, so real talk, I don't like that flower at all. I think it looks weird and wonky. So what I'm gonna do is, and you know, if you're at this point and you don't like something, don't throw out the painting yet. Just give it a shot. I'm gonna grab a filbert brush. This is in number 6. And we're gonna do some roundiness. Actually, just kidding. We're gonna do, well, we are, but not that brush. Grab a larger filbert right here. What is this number? I mean, it's number 8. Clearly the sizing is weird and off because this says it's a 6, this says it's an 8. Anyway, but the point is, I'm just telling you what I got in case you're wondering. So, grabbing some more pink. Sometimes you just don't like something. I'm gonna bug. Oh, get out. You're gonna die in there. And you'll be forever in my paint. So more saturated. This is gonna give me a really nice rounded petal. And it is still wet here, but I did make sure to dry the flowers because that's the point. That's the part that I wanted to emphasize. And so I'm just kind of twisting my brush around. Okay, wow, look at that. I've just covered up those messy parts that I don't like with a little bit more saturated paint, and I love it already. So, if you're having a similar issue, I'm just gonna leave it like that. Like this guy, so here's my tendency. My tendency is to overcorrect, to go darker, to like try to, let's put on each petal. Each petal needs to be painted on again, but no, it doesn't. And actually something that's more random is gonna be more attractive to the eye. So like, you know, you just do a little bit of augmentation, and you just kind of leave it like that. If you try to paint everything, it might turn out a little messy. It might turn out lovely though. You could try. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do in your life. I'm just telling you that my tendency to like make everything look matchy tends to be disappointment later on. You know, like the result of that. I don't know. But the eye does like kind of that random look for some reason. And see, I'm trying to do it again. And so now I'm completely changing things. So I didn't expect to do a filbert today, and that's okay. Like, use what you got and let your intuition tell you, you know, what to do. What else? There we go. So, woo, okay. So we've got a filberty look happening now. So with this painting, I think we're pretty much done. If you want to clean up the leaves a little that have kind of spread out, you can. That's the temptation for me, to just keep going with this, and you don't want to overwork it, but you want to enjoy what you're doing. A little bit more of that yellow. Really, really concentrated yellow. And that's it. We don't need anybody else to have yellow. It's the only one. I'm always kind of curving those in. They're going to spread a little bit, get a little wonky. That's totally cool. I'm going to keep using this number 2 round, grabbing some green gold and just defining this leaf a little bit more. And yeah, and this one just sort of is forgotten about. You just went into the background of the wash. So yeah, you can do so much with your paintings. This needs a little bit more definition. But yeah, I would say though, when you start to question, you know, if your painting is done or if you're overworking it, that is the point where I usually say, hey, probably time to stop, you know. And you know, if you're ever wondering kind of how to figure that out. So there's so much that you can do. You can just do one layer, you know, and just call it quits. You can do some dry brushing like I did there. You can do like 3 or 4 layers. But I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you have fun. And don't feel guilty if you don't enjoy it, okay? That's the other part. But the point is that we're trying. We're seeing if we can enjoy that process. All right, friends. Well, I feel like this is done. I do want to add some splatter. Yep. I've got to. I mean, come on now. That's what I do. I'm going to take my number 8. Just a little bit of splatter. Come on. And this is a little bit wet, a little bit dry. Just a little bit, you know, like that. I feel like it adds a nice magic touch to the painting. Right. So there you go. I mean, that's the peony. So for those of you who have just joined in the live, like this was the reference I used. Clearly not the same painting. I wouldn't want to paint it this way though. I don't feel like that feels balanced, and plus you need more leaves. So like I said, I take a painting and I run with it. I mean, hopefully you can recognize some of it. Like here's the peony here, the little bud, this guy over there side facing, and this side facing over here. You know, if I'm drawing, I tend to draw exactly what I see. But I would encourage you, once you get to that point where you know the rules, you can start to really go off on your own. But it's still important to have a reference to give you guidance and placement for things, and also to inspire you. That's a big part of it. It can help inspire your painting. When you're not sure what to paint or where to put things, it just takes that, you know, guesswork out of it, which is wonderful. Quite wonderful. And this one also could use some on this side. There we go. So yeah. All right, well, that was the painting, you guys. I'm debating if I should paint something else, but I'm feeling like I need to go do a few other things. So we're gonna call it quits for now. I'm just gonna bring this down in the crazy wonky way, flip around. And all right, there's a few of you here. Hey guys, thanks for sticking it out with me. And I hope you painted. Let me know in the comments if you painted with me. You can see a big difference between this one and then this is the one that I did the other day just for fun. And I was like, ooh, I should make a video. And this is the one from Instagram today. So we did a bigger, fuller bouquet of flowers and just kind of changed it up. Anyway, so I will reiterate, the watercolor supplies by Winsor and Newton will be linked below once this is the replay very soon. And you know, the brushes, the Cotman brushes that I use, and the watercolor paints, and then their paper. It's fabulous, but use what you've got. Don't use what I've got just because you think that that's going to make you a better artist. Use what you have and practice. That's what's going to make you a better artist, to improve. Practice does not make perfect. I hate that phrase. Practice makes improvement, makes you better, gives you confidence. So, And then my Skillshare classes will be linked below with my referral link if you want to check out some longer courses and try free for 30 days, as well as all the other stuff on the website and all the things. Anyway, all right, guys, well, have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.